These are the general questions that you want to make sure that are prevalent in a makeup consultation. Of course, you're going to have the person's name, the date of the event. And really, when it comes to makeup consultations, you really should be gearing that makeup consultation surrounded around a makeup contract, just because you want to make sure that the information that's being given to you is directly related to the service that you're providing, where you're providing that service. Um, that's very important, because what ends up happening is stuff can get mixed up, or somebody can be like, oh, I said this. No, sweetheart, you didn't say that. This is what you said, and I know this is what you said because this is what you put on the form. Which brings me to the main point of any consultation that you do. Make sure that the client is filling that form out. I do all things online. So before I even speak to a client that wants a makeup service, they have to fill out a consultation form. And it's just some general information. And the reason why it's so important in makeup, in skin or cause, is a little bit different because they're coming to your salon. But sometimes as a freelance artist, you end up finding yourself in a space where you have to go to people, or certain things. And I'll give you guys a couple of examples of some of the things that have been tend to swindled out of me. Um, One, it's at this address, but then the day before, it's like, oh, we're at this address actually. I'm sorry. So now I charged you in a 30-mile range when I should have charged you out of a 30-mile range. Oh, it's going to be at this place. The parking gets free. Then you get there and the parking gets $30. Now I'm calling saying, hey, you said the park. Oh, I'm sorry. Da, da, da. Now I'm spending money to park for a job that you booked me for. That should be included in the rate. Um,
So do you just adjust your rate then?
Yep, so like, for example, the rate on my website is for you to book to come physically get a service. If you are someone who is getting a service and you need me to go to you, there is a specific thing that you book for that. And I have to get information in order to give you a price. Like, my price is not the same for everybody unless you're coming to the physical space to get your makeup done. What's so there's two addresses on here. What's your address, and then what's the address of the prep location? The reason why that's important, because somebody will put your address and put their address and wait till the day of or the day before and say, this is where I'm getting. No, that's not how this works. Contact information and emergency contact is very important. Believe it or not, have you been under the care of a physician, dermatologist, or medical professional in the past year? If so, explain. I need to know, because if it's plastic, then, and you just had that plastic in the past 2-3 months, I need to be gentle in a specific area. If you have any skin cancer, I may need to be a little bit more cognitive of the ingredients that I'm providing for you because of that. Have you recently had any piercings or tattoos on the face? Have you ever had any type of spa treatments? The reason why I'm asking, have you had any spa treatments, and it's just makeup, as most people say, is because guess what? If that person got a chemical peel yesterday and their skin is highly sensitive, I need to know that, because you may not be a candidate for makeup today. And I get it, you need your makeup because this event was on this day, but one, you should not have gotten a chemical peel the day before, and two, somebody else will do it, but it just won't be me, because I have a business license, I have multiple licenses that I need to protect. So you want to be mindful of those things. Questions so far? Do you smoke? I want to know that. Why? Because that's going to let me know a lot about the texture and the oiliness and the congestion on the skin. Sometimes if I know what I'm supposed to be doing on the client, I don't bring this whole get up. Sometimes I will pack just what's needed for that person. So I ask very specific questions. Some of the other general questions that are on here are basically things like, how do you normally wear your makeup? What do you normally do to your face on a daily basis? Because if a client does not wear a lot of makeup, I'm 9 times out of 10 not going to show up and put a lot of makeup on them unless they're specifically saying, I want to try something completely opposite of what I normally do. Most clients that you find that are like, oh, I just put a little mascara, eyeshadow, and a lip gloss on, they're not gonna wanna feel like they have a lot of makeup on for that special event or whatever it is. So you have to be mindful of those things. I was just talking to a friend that has been in the industry. He's been doing makeup for 10 years now. One of the biggest issues is not getting your money.
If people just not paying.
Yeah. You never do anything without discussing your rate. You never agree to anything without discussing your rate. Period. If someone says to you, and this is how the conversation went, another artist that was working on a specific music artist was not available and needed him to fill in. So, hey, I have such and such that needs makeup. She's just gonna need touch-ups. Can you do it? This is the date. I would never say yes at that point. It's on April 26th. It's from 5 to 10 p.m. Can you do it? Well, I'm going to need additional information in order to let you know the full scope of what I can and can't do as far as the artistry work for this specific client. That's my answer. It's never yes, I can do it. Because the minute I commit, I'm committed. So the minute I back out, I'm unreliable. A lot of artists, a lot of agents, a lot of managers will try to hang you or rope you like that. Don't be roped like that. Because the minute you say yes, you just committed to a job that you don't even know how much you're getting paid, where it's at, or what the requirements are. You never say yes to anything until you get the full scope of what should be done. And when it comes to artists, and it's not through a production company where you are signing a W-2 or an I-9, and you're turning around and you have to wait 30 days to get your check, you should be getting your money up front. What that looks like is there is a 50% retainer, not a deposit, a retainer. A retainer means you are retaining me for this day, for this time gap. You're paying me to hold that space. You're not paying me for my artistry. You're not paying me to do your makeup. You're paying me for my time. So when you decide that you no longer want to utilize me because your artist is available, you get nothing back because you retained that time and that day, which means that I closed my books for you to make sure that I was available for you. Now the remaining balance goes towards the faith, like the actual makeup, and I am counting that retainer as a part of that. The minute that you use deposit, that means that I am paying towards a service, which means that if you don't do that service, no matter what happens in the court of law, you have to give it back. The judge will order for you to return that money because you did not provide a service. I do not use the word deposit for anything. It may say it on my website, but when they actually sign papers, they sign a paper that says retainer. And that's 50% of the service. I don't care if it's hair or makeup. I do hair, makeup, skin, nails. Everything is a retainer. I'm not showing up to anybody's job for anybody's artist or anything to do anything for free. When you do things on a deposit, you're risking doing it for free. So what ended up happening was, can you do it? Yeah, sure. So then it was, well, this is what production normally pays me, so this is what I'm going to pay you 30 days later once they pay me. So my response to that is, no, I don't work for your production company. You're going to pay me up front. So this is artists dealing with artists, not artists dealing with talent. I'm not hired for your production company. So you're asking me to do something for you, which means that you need to pay me out now. And when you get your money back, that's when you get your money back from production. So, because I don't have a contract with production, because production can decide 30 days later, we're not paying that out, we never agreed to that person. 50% off, not off, oh God.
50% retainer.
50%. And this, so let that be an example of why conversation isn't good. Paper, black and white, email, fill out this form. So 50% retainer. The day before or the day that I show up, my remaining balance should be fulfilled before I even unpack my kit. Do not be scared to hold your grounds. I have literally stood with my stuff and they're like, why aren't you setting up? I'm still waiting for payment to be received for the remaining balance. If there's an issue with it, no. Unfortunately, I cannot unpack and start setup until the balance is fulfilled. It's just all about your verbiage, the professionalism. Speak clearly, speak with your chest out and your head up. That's it. Do not let people play with you and your money. If it's an artist and a manager, that has nothing to do with me, what you have to do with production. Unless production has given me a contract and I agreed to sign that contract and I'm agreeing to get the benefits of working with production consistently, no. This is a glam and go, give me my money. Otherwise, I'd be more than happy to pack my things back up in my trunk and leave. Who in here wants to do more than just hair in a bridal? In a salon. You gotta have your contracts to the T. You gotta make sure that you know these things. When people are coming to you, that's fine, because people show up, you do the hair, you get your money, they leave. But when it comes to like anybody here that wants to do bridal, celebrity work, you want to do high profile clients, you have to have that stuff in place. Because if you think that those people don't have stuff in place to protect them, they do. So you have to be the same thing. And your rate is your rate, okay? Do not ever adjust.
So were you charging like a big amount of money like you were saying before you knew how to do those specific rollouts?
Yep. Because it's the industry standard. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Once you're licensed, you should be charging the industry standard. And you should be constantly, every year, investing in classes or trainings or one-on-ones, or even if it doesn't have to necessarily be a class. Like, for example, I was working for this lady named Victoria Duke. And she was best friends with Scott Barnes. Scott Barnes flew into Miami to train us. So we spent a week with him training on how to do makeup in his style, like the underpainting and things like that. But his husband was there as well, Frank Glasgow. So we got a hair class as well. So it can either be that. What I always tell you to do is, before you invest your money in people, one, make sure they know what the hell they're talking about, okay? Because there's a lot of frauds out here, especially in Atlanta. Like, there's a lot of people that have like a class and they don't know the first thing about safety and sanitation practices. So make sure they know what they're talking about. Make sure that they have a website. Make sure they have a license. And make sure that they have some sort of training past what they've trained from, like just the foundational training. Like, I want to know, like, it's great that you work on this and this celebrity, but what did you do before you got that celebrity? Because there's a lot of people in this day and age that are coming straight out of school and they're lucking up and they're latching onto a celebrity. But what y'all don't see on the back end is the celebrities aren't paying them. So they're doing what they know. They're not getting paid. So it looks like they're getting paid for the knowledge and expertise that they have, but that's not the case.